Tonight on NewsWatch, striking Syria. The Obama administration heads to Capitol Hill to convince lawmakers to act in the war-torn country.
Plus, children taken from their home. Why German forces took action against a homeschooled family.
And a look at Christian persecution in India. CBN News talks with a pastor who's helping lead the church in that country. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. President Obama is trying to nail down congressional support for an attack on Syria before he leaves for the G20 summit.
He has gained some backers, but other lawmakers aren't convinced a strike is the right move.
Gary Lane has more in tonight's top story.
The White House is in full lobbying mode, pushing Congress to support a military strike against Syria. Mr. Obama appears to have already won support from two Republican senators, Lindsey Graham and John McCain.
I think we have found some areas that we can work together, but we have a long way to go.
McCain says he isn't sure a vote authorizing a military strike on Syria would pass.
I really have no ideas because I think a lot of people have not made up their minds.
The White House has also gotten a boost from House Speaker John Boehner, who said he will support the president's actions.
The use of these weapons have to be responded to, and only the United States has the capability and the capacity to stop Assad.
But other lawmakers who've received a classified briefing on Syria remain skeptical.
I don't see where the Assad regime has posed a direct threat to America or its allies.
What's missing right now is the plan of action about what would happen in the event that the United States did use some type of force against Syria.
And polls have shown that a majority of Americans oppose an attack.
Syria is not at war with the United States. The United States government and Obama do not have the right to be judge, jury, and executioner.
Another cause for concern? Syria's rebel forces are a mixed bag that include al-Qaeda terrorists. As the anniversary of 9/11 approaches, an attack on the Syrian regime may help the very group behind the attack on the World Trade Center. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Israel carried out a joint missile test with the United States in the Mediterranean Sea today. The Israeli Defense Ministry says the exercise was meant to test radar systems. The move came as tensions are rising throughout the Middle East over a possible strike on Syria. Both Syria and Iran have threatened retaliation against Israel if there is a strike against Syria. Israel says it's prepared for any attack.
And for more on this, we turn now to our Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell. Chris, do you think the missile testing was meant to send some sort of signal to the Syrian regime?
Well, it's possible, Wendy, because this had been a pre-planned test for many months, but they did go ahead with it during a sort of a charged atmosphere in the region. And so perhaps they meant to send a signal, but it's also possible that it was just a pre-planned missile test and really not much to speak about. It was interesting, and one of the Israeli officials told me earlier today that it was the Russians that actually announced this missile test, so they sort of outed the Israelis, as it were.
Well, how is the region reacting to the decision by the Obama administration to go to Congress for approval to strike Syria?
The Arab press, for one, is saying that it shows the weakness of the United States. And I think here in the region, that kind of perception is what they think is actually reality. So whether or not you think the U.S. is being strong or being wise, at least over here in many of the Arab nations, they're being perceived as weak. And that could be dangerous for the U.S. in the region.
Chris, if the U.S. does carry out some sort of strike in Syria, what could that mean, or what will it mean for Israel?
Well, for Israel, if they do strike, it may reinforce the perception here in Israel that at least there's a possibility that the U.S. will go and stand behind Israel on a possible attack against Iran. An Israeli told me the other day, Wendy, that the U.S. needs to keep its eye on the ball. And he said the ball is Iran. I don't think they're that much concerned about Syria. If Syria did provoke an attack, a retaliatory attack against Israel, if the U.S. attacks, that's one thing. But I think they really see their existential threat, their main threat is Iran, and they want the U.S. to back them on a possible missile strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. That, to me, and that to them, is the main issue.
Well, Chris, you live in Israel. You said things were pretty tense over the weekend. Do you think the U.S. should strike Syria?
That's a great question, Wendy. I'm not sure. I think what will happen here in the region, if the U.S. does attack Syria, is unpredictable. And it could just, put fuel on a gasoline fire right now. So it remains to be seen. It is very important that the U.S. and the international community make a statement about chemical weapons and weapons of mass destruction, because chemical weapons, biological weapons, and especially nuclear weapons are what the region really needs to be concerned about. So I think some statement needs to be made, but it's fraught with a lot of peril. It really could just change the whole complexion of this nature. With Russia involved, Syria, Iran, Hezbollah, retaliatory strike on Israel is remote, but certainly not out of possibility. And everybody here, it's been, the temperature's gone down just a bit here, but next week when the U.S. makes the decision one way or the other, they're expecting the temperature to go up. They're celebrating Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, in just a couple of years, praying for a good new year, and I think that's what a lot of people need to be praying for, a good new year here in Israel and the region.
All right. Definitely a catch-22 if we ever saw one. Well, stay safe. Chris Mitchell in our Jerusalem Bureau, thanks so much.
An Egyptian military tribunal has sentenced 11 supporters of ousted Islamist President Mohamed Morsi to life in prison. 45 others were given 5-year sentences. Officials say the defendants were arrested after attacking troops, sabotaging armored vehicles, and torching churches. The riots were caused by the crackdown on 2 pro-Morsi camps in Cairo. Meanwhile, a panel of judges has ruled that the Muslim Brotherhood should be dissolved. The ruling is non-binding, but it is another setback for the Islamist group.
In Germany, authorities have once again abducted the children of a homeschooling family. Dale Hurd has that story.
Witnesses described it as brutal and vicious. A team of German police officers with a battering ram stormed the residence of the Wunderlich family, shown here at a homeschooling conference last year. The raid near Darmstadt last week took all 4 of the family's children into state custody. The only legal grounds were that the parents, Dirk and Petra Wunderlich, continued to homeschool their children. There were no other allegations of abuse or neglect. A German family court judge also authorized the police to use force against the Wunderlich children if they resisted. Behind the raid was the notorious Jugendamt, or youth office. Many of the German parents that have run afoul of the Jugendamt have had their lives ruined. They've been taken in and out of court, been fined thousands of euros. Some have been thrown in jail, and some have lost their children. A few years ago, the Wunderlichs fled Germany to avoid having their children taken. But the need for employment forced them to return. In an interview in Berlin last year, Dirk Wunderlich said he was prepared to go to jail rather than send his children to school.
But I'm not afraid of this. It's only sad for my family, but I go laughing. You can do what you want. My children don't go to school.
The founder of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, Michael Ferris, called the abduction of the Wunderlich children an outrageous act of a rogue nation. And it demonstrates why the asylum case of another German homeschool family, the Romaikas, is so important. The Romaikas fled German persecution of homeschoolers and were granted asylum by an immigration judge. The Obama administration wants the Romaikas sent back to Germany, where they could face the same fate as the Wunderlichs. Witnesses said when Petra Wunderlich tried to give her daughter a kiss and hug goodbye, one of the police officers pushed her away and said it's too late for that. The children were taken to unknown locations. Officials told the parents they would not be seeing their children anytime soon. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
An Oregon bakery that refused to make a same-sex wedding cake because of the owner's religious beliefs has closed up shop. Sweet Cakes by Melissa was under state investigation to determine if it had violated the Oregon Equality Act. The owners announced on Facebook they would be moving their business to an in-home bakery. Those who visited the shop on Sunday found only empty counters and displays, and on the window a sign from the Oregon Family Council that read, "Religious freedom is under attack in Gresham." The couple's stance gained both support from proponents of traditional marriage and protests from supporters of same-sex marriage.
In a similar case, the owner of a flower shop in Richland, Washington, is being sued because of her Christian beliefs. Baronelle Stutzman has owned Arlene's Flowers for decades, but when asked to sell flowers to a gay couple for their wedding, she declined, saying it was against her Christian beliefs. She's now being taken to court over the matter, and she spoke exclusively with CBN News about the matter.
You have to make a stand somewhere in your life on what you believe and what you don't believe. And it was just a time that I had to take a stand. And everybody will have to come to that same time in their business.
Interesting. Well, lawyers tell CBN News this case has the makings of one that could go all the way to the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court. Our David Brody will have a complete report on this story coming soon on the 700 Club.
Coming up, how one radio host is hoping to protect the Constitution and freedom in America.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
The Constitution is supposed to be the supreme law of the land, but today many conservatives worry that some liberals want to impose their own rules on America. Now the popular talk radio host Mark Levin has started a movement to protect the Constitution and our freedom. David Brody talked to Levin about his new book called The Liberty Amendments.
The lines at bookstores are out the door. People waiting to get a signed copy of the New York Times #1 bestseller, The Liberty Amendments by Mark Levin.
We're unmoored from the Constitution, and people see it.
The radio talk show host and constitutional scholar says he's fed up with 100 years of what he calls growing authoritarianism from liberals.
We're fighting for our society and the Constitution. What are they fighting for? To take it all away from us.
We know what's going to happen in situations like this. The government becomes more coercive, more tyrannical. The circle of liberty around each individual gets smaller and smaller.
And now Levin has used his pen to come up with a states' rights federalist solution. He believes the answer to the problem of bigger and bigger government resides in Article 5 of the Constitution, where it says that 2/3 of the states, that's 34, would need to call conventions to propose amendments to the Constitution. And then 3/4 of the states, that's 38, would need to approve those amendments. It's not an easy proposition.
Are they daunting? Yes, they're daunting. It took us 100 years to get here, and it's going to take us quite a while to unravel this.
Some of Levin's amendments include limits on taxes and spending, reining in the huge number of federal agencies, and term limits not only for Congress, but also for Supreme Court justices.
The justices have more power than the framers ever intended. They're involved in more things than they should be, and there's no check on them.
Levin's new book seems to be picking up steam. Besides being a #1 bestseller, a group called Citizens for Self-Governance has started a Convention of the States Facebook page, and there's more.
I've read a book called the Liberty Amendments.
Senator Tom Coburn became the first senator to voice his support for Levin's idea.
I used to have a great fear of a constitutional convention. I have a great fear now of not having one.
But Levin is quick to point out that this is not a constitutional convention where our founding document can just be changed on the spot. Any proposed amendments must still be approved by 3/4 of the states. Now, he acknowledges some Americans just may not want solid, conservative constitutional change.
If people want to be enslaved, they're going to be enslaved. If people don't want to embrace their own history, which shows them the way out, then they're not going to embrace their own history.
And Levin believes it will be an uphill battle against the mainstream media and GOP moderates who have no appetite for a convention to keep America's freedoms.
We cannot allow our enemies and our adversaries to define who we are and what we are.
Levin says going this way to limit government is not his way, it's the way of the founders. And since he believes that's the founders' way, he's not worried about what his opponents will say.
That whole crowd is meaningless to me. The whole purpose of this book is to bypass them, to go over their heads. The public school system can't stop us. MSNBC can't stop us. Ossified Republicans can't stop us. Only we can stop us.
David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Up next, how Christians in India are keeping their faith in the face of persecution.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans. with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right. You could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
The government of India is trying to ease poverty and malnutrition with a $20 billion food bill. 2/3 of India's population live in poverty, and half of the country's children are malnourished. By subsidizing wheat, rice, and cereals, the National Food Security Bill would guarantee those living in poverty a legal right to food. Those who qualify would get 5 kilograms of grains a month at a low cost. If approved by the country's president, the bill would create the world's largest welfare program. Well, in recent weeks, CBN News has been reporting on troubling incidents of persecution against Christians in northern India.
That's right. Pastor R. Abraham is co-founder of the New India Church of God. He recently spoke with George Thomas about what the church is facing there.
We're hearing these reports almost on a daily basis of the persecution taking place in the northern part of India. What's going on?
Well, North has always been having trouble because North India, the very reason of the number of Christians is so negligible. So we hear about, a breaking down or destruction of a church, beating up a pastor there. And that happens all the time, every day.
Do these Hindu radical groups, do they view the Christians, like for example, in the northern part of the country, and you said their numbers are practically negligible, but do they view the Christians as a threat to their Hindu way of life?
I sometimes wonder, because the number is so small, like in some states, it is like 0.1% or less than 0.1%.
Talk about that. How difficult is it to share the gospel of Jesus Christ in such an environment?
The whole environment looks like, very hostile, very much against. But when you are working among the common man, he's not that hostile, because people are looking for answers. People are looking for a God. So when you're bringing out the salvation, the healing, and the blessing from Jesus Christ, the common man always responds to the gospel. Otherwise, we can't do the work.
There are various states that are enacting anti-conversion laws. Is this something to be concerned about?
Very much. Already there's a law against conversion. A very interesting thing, they will call it as a freedom of religion bill because Constitution gives us the freedom of religion. So they won't call it anti-conversion. So this bill has brought in saying that anyone who is forcefully converted, which they call being baptized in the water.
Right.
And if they are proven, the pastor will go to jail for 4 years and he has to pay 100,000 rupees, which he won't be able to pay.
Yeah.
So that is by the government. So we are actually fighting against it at the moment. The bill has been passed and gone to the governor for the approval, but the governor has not approved it yet.
The Indian Constitution clearly states that there is freedom of religion, and anybody who wants to move away from Hinduism, Islam or Buddhism to any other religion can do so,
They
right?
can.
Yeah.
So now these guys are saying, but if it is forcefully, then, but the question is, who is going to define forceful conversion?
Is right. Yeah.
So that is, for your own way, you can use it for your own benefit.
Sure.
So that is where our contention is. Because we don't believe forceful conversion. We don't want anybody to come in and join, against their will. We believe that the person should open their heart on their own and receive Christ.
So clearly, despite these conversion laws, despite the challenges in the northern part of India, you are seeing God move.
Yeah, we are growing. We are growing, like as I said, we got church all over the country, about 23 states. And India has got only 28 states. So we are seeing God moving, and we are seeing people coming to the Lord. So that is maybe, they no matter what they're trying to do, is not able to stop the move of God.
And that's the good news. And I've been hearing these reports, and I've done stories, I've had the privilege of doing them, the stories of the so-called Dalits, the untouchables, who are in droves coming to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And it's happening around the country.
Yeah, and even like, you know, like the state of Orissa, I shared with when I was interviewed by Brother Pat Robertson. And I was saying that we are having a revival in one of our churches in the state of Orissa, where we are seeing thousands of people coming into a village and getting saved and healed and set free.
Wow, fantastic. Well, in the midst of persecution, obviously the church, and we see it around the world, the church in India is experiencing growth.
Jesus Christ is Lord, you know, nothing is going to change.
That's awesome. Pastor Ranjit Abraham, terrific ministry, doing lots of good work in the nation of India. So thank you so much for your service.
You're welcome.
And great to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Up next, a man is surprised with a celebration he missed over 6 decades ago.
Attention, sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Cultures across the world celebrate coming of age. The Jewish bar mitzvah remains one of the most recognizable Jewish traditions.
The bar mitzvah takes place on a boy's 13th birthday. But one recent celebration in Florida, the guest of honor was considerably older than that. Ivan Gabor's family surprised him on his 80th birthday. You see, he's a Holocaust survivor. His 13th birthday came about a time when there was no cause for celebration. So Ivan's wife decided to give him with his very own coming-of-age party.
It's for me. I am dreaming. Oh, this is real.
I thought he was going to faint.
Wow, his son spoke at the event reading a letter from Ivan's father. Friends and family surrounded Ivan as they danced and laughed. The 80-year-old says he was thrilled to finally have the celebration he has longed for 67 years. Wow, that's
Better
great.
late than never, right?
That is so true.
But
yep.
I've only been to one bar mitzvah in my life, and it was memorable. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But they have to memorize things in Hebrew, so I guess he was able to do that.
Yes, he did that, yeah.
That's all for this edition of Newswatch.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Good night.